Welcome back, viewers. We are discussing with Dr. Shaukat Hameed Khan the issue of energy and power generation in Pakistan. When we went for the break, you were talking about alternative sources of energy, and we talked about something you felt was more realistic, which is nuclear energy. But you also, just before the break, you said that it is finite, because you cannot, the uranium that you need for this, and even for reprocessing, you don't have this material in infinite capacities. So even this has an upper limit that you can go with it.
Once through uranium feed in, and then and you put in new uranium, it's not going to last very long.
Okay.
And the reserves will maybe to 2050 or 2060. What do we do after that?
After that. But again, 2060, I am in a position to look at 2060. I mean, we're looking at, sorry, Doctor.
And you start with proliferation issues.
Yeah, well, of course, there are proliferation issues, that is true. But having said that, there are countries, you take India, for example, that has, 2028 nuclear power plants?
Okay. We, in the Atomic Energy Commission...
We have two or three.
Two or three, another four. And the 2 or 4 we signed up with the Chinese.
But they've got 28. So
they've got the old Russian plant.
Right, but in the short term...
The one that had the major explosion, accident in the Ukraine, there was some plant. No? Look at that stupid, dirty design. I'm sorry for the word, but it's a bad design. Incidentally, in the Atomic Energy Commission, we used to wonder, why are the Indians running? Can't they run their power plants? Instead of 200 megawatts, they're running at 70, 80 megawatts, 100 megawatts, 70 megawatts. Later on, we discovered they want to go for proliferation, and 50 to 60 megawatts is when you have optimum production of plutonium. They're deliberately underrunning their power reactors. And now, of course, they've got the deal with the Americans.
The Americans, right.
We proposed to the Americans, and we proposed to the rest of the world, the IAEA, that look, a nuclear power plant, 50 years have passed, the technology is well developed. We in Pakistan are prepared to treat it as an independent power producer, IPP.
All right.
So we can let the French come in, they're very good, 76% of the energy is nuclear or in origin.
Yes.
Come and set up a plant, or the Americans, GE, Westinghouse, or the Koreans, or anybody, set up a plant, bring in the fuel, please take away the spent fuel. We're not interested. Because it doesn't mesh at all, it doesn't interact with our weapons program.
Yes.
Our weapons program is pure enrichment of uranium. So we don't need plutonium like the engines had to do. So you can use it for pure power production, and the fuel. There's lots of developments in this field now.
Sorry, before we can get on to the actual technical developments of it, what is more important is, because I think...
More like policy rather than technical, because people are now talking of regional centers where fuel is made, regional centers for reprocessing, and guaranteed international sovereign guarantees by groups of nations that if country A is producing uranium, for example, then let's say if Iran wants fuel, then if it's produced in Pakistan, we can say, okay, it's guaranteed.
This is fine, but Dr. Shaukat Hameed, the problem here is that these are long-term. It's not something that's going... See, Pakistan's issues are exigent.
Yes.
You have to be talking circa 2010, and we've got to deal with the problem now, because look at the impact it is having. Industry is going down substantially. Has gone down, but I mean, it's going to go down even further.
We can't compete
with anyone, because even like the textile sector, from where we get 60% of our export earnings, they have been very brave and very innovative, and in spite of all the political hassles. Power kills, but the power issue is killing them, even the ones who are fighting back. The power issue is killing them. So for us, it is so exigent that we need to deal with this on an emergency basis. And like you said, all I hear of these pie in the sky, totally what seems to me unrealistic propositions. How are we going to get around this to save ourselves?
We have two choices. We go for the short term, and in a way we are very critical of the government for rental power plants, 100 megawatts, 50 megawatts. It will cost more to generate. You want immediate solutions. This is the only way to do it. You can bring them over in 6 months, you can start producing power.
Then
you pay more. Number one. Number two, we've got to rationalize the tariffs. I'll tell you why. We are probably the only country in the world where domestic tariffs are lower than industrial and commercial tariffs. All over the world, is domestic tariffs for electricity are 70 to 80% higher. Industry is cheaper, yes. Industry is always, is always, so the cross subsidies are given like this, that the domestic users pay a little more, industry pays less for electricity. We do the opposite. We're going to do some changes there.
Because let me just ask this is very interesting, because it's so symptomatic of where political decisions tend to destroy our economic progress. Because the reason why every time there's a raise for domestic consumption, on domestic consumption, you get this a huge brouhaha about how people are being victimized, etc., etc. And then you get the politicians running to what they think is repair the damage. Why? Because they are more interested in their political longevity than what they are in the long-term prospects of the country. So this is why every time there's a slight raise, but they really won't do it substantially and significantly so that we can have quick returns on this. So they're penalizing industry, and in the long term, if industry goes down, your economic health cannot survive. It seems to be, again, this is a prime example of where economics is being subjected to a political agenda. What are we going to do about it?
We get nervous, we get into a panic that the people in the cities who use most of the electricity, domestic electricity, they're going to go against us, the chattering classes, as they say.
Yes.
Hold on. We've got to face up the facts, 80% of the people don't have energy, don't have electricity. We're very electricity dependent. The world is going to be more electricity dependent as time passes. So we bring in everything. One other thing, I talked about base load. Now, base load, we go for thermal fuel-based power plants. We also now bring in conservation and efficiency measurements. And here I must, by the way, I'm no longer in the Planning Commission. I was one of 6 members, not since September. One of my colleagues there was a member of Energy, and he's brought out a good program for upgradation and efficiency improvement in our power plants. For example, if you know in a thermal power plant, steam is